Did you kill Grace Millane? Okay. Jesse Kempson, you're under arrest for the murder of Grace Millane.
The British backpacker went missing on the eve of her 22nd birthday in December 2018. A week later, the man she'd been on a Tinder date with that night, Jesse Shane Kempson, was arrested for her murder. In his first interview with Detective Ewan Settle 2 days earlier, he lied about what had happened.
How did the evening pan out?
Yeah, pretty good.
But the investigation team was already closing in on the then 26-year-old.
We actually don't know if she's been murdered or not yet. She may be alive and well.
Okay.
But she might also be dead. Okay? And it could be that you've done it.
Moments later, after being left alone in the interview room,
Hey, I just want to ask a question. Am I being arrested for something I didn't do?
You haven't been arrested, mate.
I was like, holy shit. Okay.
brought into the Auckland Central Police Station a second time, Jesse Kempson changed his story.
You've indicated that you're willing to speak to us about the events of last Saturday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me what happened last Saturday.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
At his 3-week trial in the High Court in Auckland late last year, the jury watched CCTV footage of Jesse Kempson and Grace Millane on their Tinder date in central Auckland, bar hopping, drinking and eventually kissing. They went back to Kempson's apartment at the City Life Hotel, walking into the lobby together, Kempson's arm around Ms Millane's shoulders, the last time she was seen alive. The Crown said Kempson strangled Ms Millane to death, but the defence argued her death was an accident during consensual rough sex. CCTV footage from the following morning showed Kempson buying a suitcase and cleaning products, hiring a carpet cleaning machine, picking up a rental car and driving out to West Auckland to buy a shovel. Kempson said he panicked, putting her body in a suitcase and burying it in a shallow grave in the Waitakere Ranges, but the jury didn't believe him.
Do you find the defendant, Jesse Shane Kempson, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
In February, Jesse Kempson was jailed for life with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years. At Kempson's sentencing, Grace Millane's mother, Gillian, delivered her victim impact statement to the court via audio-visual link from her home in England.
On a daily basis, I torment myself over what you did to my Grace. The terror and pain she must have experienced at your hands. As a mother, I would have done anything to change places with her. I sit full of guilt, knowing I couldn't help her, but I should have been there. She died terrified and alone in a room with you.
After the sentencing, the detective inspector who led the investigation into Grace Millane's disappearance, Scott Beard, told Checkpoint he thought it was inevitable Jesse Kempson would kill someone.
I've always thought that if it wasn't Grace, it was going to be someone. Now, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't talk about psychological profile, but what we do know is he's a liar. You know, a number of times we proved he lied to the police, he lied to others.
The lapsing of name suppression means it can now be revealed Jesse Kempson had other victims, women he'd abused before he met Grace Millane. Kempson was convicted of a raft of sexual violation offences after 2 judge-alone trials in the High Court at Auckland in October and November this year. One woman, an ex-girlfriend, went to the police and told them he had subjected her to sustained and escalating physical, sexual, emotional and financial abuse. When her case went to trial, she said her heart dropped when she saw the first blurred images of Kempson on the news. She said she felt guilty about Millane's death.
I didn't want to bring up my past again, but I also wanted the truth to be out about who Jesse is and the pattern of behaviour and how this whole thing could have been avoided. It really could have.
Jesse Kempson was found guilty of 8 charges relating to that woman, including 2 of sexual violation and 1 of threatening to kill, and jailed for 7.5 years. At the other trial, he was found guilty of raping another woman he'd met on Tinder in a motel. When the verdict was delivered, Kempson lashed out at Justice Venning.
Full of shit, mate. You have no reason to convict me. You're full of shit.
When Kempson was sentenced a few weeks later to 3.5 years in jail, Justice Venning had this to say.
It's apparent from your response to the verdict of the court you do not accept the offending and you have no remorse or insight into it.
Justice Venning also cited a cultural report about Jesse Kempson that was submitted to the court by his lawyer. He said while it was difficult to see any link between Kempson's disconnection from his culture and his offending, it offered insights into his troubled upbringing.
Your parents separated when you were 3 years old. Your father was at times violent towards you, although I note he has now written in support of you. Your mother rejected you. That may go some way towards explaining your attitude towards women.
Jesse Kempson is appealing his conviction and sentence in both sexual violation cases. His bid to overturn his conviction and sentence for murdering Grace Millane was rejected by the Court of Appeal last week. He has already indicated he's likely to appeal that to the Supreme Court. Mo te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Sarah Robson, aho.